police do a better job. Meanwhile, I sense a lot of pent-up frustration this week. And would you, Adam and Eve it, but yesterday, for the first time in goodness knows however many years that we've been doing these exchanges and chatting and everything else, I met Dr. Roger Gewolb in person. It was like an epiphany. Dr. Roger, good morning to you.
Good morning. I haven't been able to sleep.
No,
it was so exciting.
I could sense your excitement. I don't think I've ever seen you so excited. I almost had to call security. Roger, very good, very good morning to you. Now let's talk about the things that have got you really sort of frothed up. So, Huw Pil, he's the Bank of England's economist. He seems to upset rather a lot of people, even though he was sort of right. How's he upset everybody?
Well, yes. I mean, of course, he's right because he's stating an obvious fact, which is that we are all poorer and we should realize that and spend less. But he drove the knife in a bit further when he said that in addition to spending less, we should stop requesting wage rises, because that drives inflation. And I know that that was just maddening to many people because, of course, the inflation has been driven mainly by people like Huw Pil.
But also, absolutely. But then also, I suppose, if we're paying the wages of people who are getting pay rises, why should you pay more tax and then not receive at least a pay rise yourself?
Oh, well, that was the next thing, was my suggestion that by spending less, they should... Mr. Bailey should cut his 575,000 quid annual salary and Mr. Pil his 180,000 pounds, and they could set an example for us. But the important point is that it is their 11 consecutive interest rate rises, too fast, too late, that have crippled this country. Its consumers, its businesses, more than doubled mortgages, wrecked big chunks of the property market, destroyed a lot of the rental market, killed off generation rent, the bank of mom and dad. I could go on and on and on. And here they have the absolute ruddy cheek to tell us what to do when they're the cause. And not only their inflation, but their constant QE, their quantitative easing, their printing
all of these measures
driving inflation.
I think he's certainly stirred something up. Meanwhile, how quickly we forget, a lot of people, I don't know, Remainers, Ramonas, they're still bleating on. Can't they just put a sock in it?
Well, I mean, they're all still in the Colosseum, James, the gladiators, the Remainers and the Ramoners. And they're each in large number blaming Brexit or praising Brexit. So they're blaming Brexit for the cost of living crisis. That's ridiculous. Others are praising Brexit, saying, hey, look where we are with vaccines. We never would have led the world in vaccines if we had remained affiliated with those losers. Well, that's not true, because even government reports have stated that we could have gone the way of the EU with vaccines, and they could have done it as we had. It was a matter of choice, nothing to do with Brexit.
It was indeed, and people continue to bleat about it. Meanwhile, almost in a sentence or two, we seem to have more waste, Roger.
Yeah, I mean, the emergency alert cost a fortune. People are trying to say that there's something there with the fact that the company that provided a lot of the technology, Infosys, is actually owned by Rishi Sunak's father-in-law. I really don't think we should conflate random things, James, because it debases when we have a real issue, like why didn't Sunak tell the ministerial committee about his wife's interest in the child care agency when asked if he had any interest. That's a different thing. That's something to be investigated. But randomly connecting the dots with the normal commercial technology contracts, I think is wrong. And the real issue is whether the emergency alert worked, how much did it cost, and was it worth doing?
And are we going to get any of those answers probably not, Roger. We must leave it there. Dr. Roger Huw Pil, CEO of Fair Money, personal finance and credit expert. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So sorry that we had to cut it short. However, time moves on. We'll be moving to the paper review next.